What is happening, MzeroA Nation? Jason here. 7 minutes. We're going to get rolling here. Going to say hi to a few of you. Hey, Telvin, what's happening, man? Shane Jordan, good to see you. I saw someone had a CFI, Landon, a CFI check ride coming up. You are going to do amazing, Landon. I just know it. Michael Scherbeck, Cary, North Carolina. Good to see you. April in South Carolina. Good to see you. Hey, Adam. Oh, Craig Ziegler. Craig, is that a new profile picture? It looks great. It looks great. Al, good to see you. Who else is out there? I saw Patrick go by, Troy Smith, Will Sanchez in Miami. Ken Monroe, good to see you all on here. Hey, Matt, nice to see you. We are going to be doing some flight planning, all live, totally unscripted. I don't know the route. I don't know the weather, anything like that. So we're going to be doing it all together. You're going to get to see how my mind works when it comes to making smart go and no-go decisions. And then we're going to give away that iPad you all entered to win. So looking forward to that. So Leighton, Brandon, Sebastian, David Rosario, hang out just a bit here. Camille, Ahab, hang out just a bit. 6 minutes, and we will be live. MzeroA Nation, 4 minutes. We'll be rolling. Rick, Carlos, Parker, Adam in Jacksonville. We're going to be rolling here in about 4 minutes. Looking forward to sharing with you all some flight planning unscripted. And then, of course, we're giving away that iPad at the end, so looking forward to that. Let's see. Hello from Kansas. Good to see you. James Brendel, hello back to you. CVH Visuals in Crystal River. You know, my home airport's Ocala, basically. That's awesome. Monty the Moose. That is a really, really great username. I saw you thanked us for help with your test. Thank you for working so hard. Sammy, good to see you as well. Bill Edwards. Hey, Dory, where are you today? Oh, he's in Medellin today. He's always somewhere different. They're always, those two are always somewhere different, aren't they, Magda? Ricardo in Brazil. Bom dia. That's good morning. How do I say good night? I don't know my Portuguese that well. Bom dia, that's about all I know in Portuguese. Joseph Carr, Jerry Schwick, Brody, good to see you. Hey, 2 minutes, 47 seconds We'll be right back here. Can't wait to see you all. Keep checking in, saying hi. Minute 30, David Rosario Perez, and then we'll be rolling. Glenn Keys, good to see you. Glenn, good evening to you as well. Coach Ray is here, everybody. Coach Ray, and I saw my second favorite Wisconsinite, Brad, is here as well. So we can get started here soon. Pilot Danny, proudly got a 97 on my private pilot written test, thanks to MzeroA Ground School. Golf clap, love it. Mike in snowy Utah, good to see you. Julio in Phoenix, hey, we're gonna get rolling here in 1 minute, and we'll be flight planning live. MzeroA, what is happening? Jason Schappert here. Is it a Friday night, Magda? Happy Friday night. Thanks for hanging out. There's a lot of things you could be doing on a chilly, rainy Friday night for some of you. We'll be looking at some of that weather here in just a bit. And instead, well, you're hanging out here. Not only are we giving away an iPad tonight to one lucky winner, but we are also diving into some totally unscripted flight planning. I don't know the airports we're picking. I don't know the weather. I don't know if we're making a go or a no-go decision. I do know it'll be a fictitious flight in 23 Mike Zulu, and you and I are gonna work together going back and forth to make that smart go and no-go decision, to choose our altitudes, to look at the weather all here together. So that's what we're going to be doing. I am just so thankful you took the time to be here. Let's give some of those shout outs as well. Jim, good to see you. Ryan, you're right. Hit that like button. Thank you everybody for hitting that like button. And obviously if you haven't subscribed or followed on Facebook, please do that now as well. Hobie, good to see you. Mr. Vargas, Jonathan Vargas has a Remote Pilot 101 logo in his profile picture. Do you see that, Magda? It's that, can we show it? Can we highlight it? I mean, that's worthy. That's good. Awesome. Good to see you. John in Cold, Michigan. Great to see you. William, Cecilia, Vincent, long time no see. Great to see you on here as well. When I'm looking this way, I'm seeing all your comments, and you can see those piling in now as well. Hey, on this webinar, do I have any first timers? First time on a live stream with me? Type in me in the chat so I can give you a little shout out as well. Love to see just kind of first timers. And maybe you've seen some MzeroA videos before, but this is your first time catching us live. Well, we're going to be doing a big live stream like this at the end of each month in 2023 as a part of our giveaways because, well, it's 2023. It's the year of 23 Mike Zulu. So looking forward to that. Look at all these me's coming in here. Chad, Henry, Frank, Benjamin. Colin, Brandon was the first comment. I want everybody to know as well. Chris, Paul Drake, oh, awesome. Bill Edwards, Debbie, awesome. So great to see so many of you on here. Again, do subscribe and like so you don't miss any, not just any videos, but as well any live streams as well. So welcome to those who haven't been on a live stream before as well. A lot of great stuff coming up too, some in-flight coffees next month and everything else. Now, another question for you. Where are my ground school members at? Ground school members, type in me in the chat so I can say hi to my ground school members and my alumni as well out there. Hopefully MzeroA, or I know MzeroA has played a small part in your big success. So thank you for making the MzeroA online ground school truly, truly one of the best. There's those ground school members. There's Pablo. Pablo doesn't miss webinars. Pablo is always on webinars. Good to see you. Jonathan Vargas, of course, alumni. Ed Kessler, a lifetime member. Maddie, Bjorn, good to see you. Hey, Brian Morrison. Brad, he counts as a ground school member too. My second favorite Wisconsinite. Awesome. Cecilia, love the blueprint book. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Hey, One Visionarial. That's my buddy from Ken Herron's show. He always helps me out when Ken Herron does all his games and stuff like that. He's always backing me up. So thank you for that. So good to see. And Randy just passes 107 as well. Hey, John Bear, sorry. Good to see you all. If you're not a ground school member and you need an amazing ground school, I encourage you to check it out, MzeroAtrial.com, to hop in there, take a 2-week trial, and see all of that. A lot of what we're going to be doing here tonight is what we do. Actually, I do a live stream each week with our ground school members as well, and you're going to get a little taste of that here today. Before we dive into that, I have another question. Who am I going to see at Sun and Fun? Sun and Fun is next week. We're going to be in Hangar D, booth 92. So I will be there. Magda does not let me leave the booth. I'm allowed 1 bathroom break per day and a little lunch break. So other than that, I'm forced to be there. So come on by, say hi, take a picture. I want to hear your story as well. So I look forward to seeing so many of you at Sun and Fun. If you're not at Sun and Fun, yes, we will be at Oshkosh as well, and we'll be flying 23 Mike Zulu up there. So maybe we'll stop at your local airport along the way. So really looking forward to that. So a lot of big things tonight. Not only are we doing an unscripted VFR flight plan, or we'll call it an IFR flight plan based on some weather, depending on what you all pick. Just flight planning live, totally unscripted, unrehearsed. I want you to see really my thought process and how I work through this in real world flight planning to make smart go and no-go decisions. Now, not only are we doing that, I also have the winner of our iPad. You know, it's the year of 23 Mike Zulu, so this month we decided to give away an iPad. Next month, April, we'll give away another great gift during a live stream just like this. So we'll be giving away that iPad at the very end. So that's going to be just absolutely amazing with that. So as we get into this flight planning, and let's just dive right into it here now, if that is okay. Monty the Moose is here, so I feel like we can totally get started. Just again, it's a great username, Magda, isn't it? We're going to get started with this, and before we get started, I have 2 rules. The first rule is I ask that you play full out. If I ask a question and you don't know, I ask that you would have the humility to just type a question mark in the chat or something like that. That way I know at the level I need to drill down to teach. It really helps me. And this, although I have some prepared slides, once we get to the flight plan portion, there's nothing prepared. So if I explain something a little too fast or a little too high level, and you need me to dive deeper into that, throw a question mark in there and we can dive deeper in that as well. So we're going to continue. You all can dictate the pace of this as well. So that's rule number 1. I ask for a spirit of boldness because it's, you know, everyone feels weird asking a question sometimes, and a spirit of humility too. That you would admit that we don't know everything. I personally don't know everything. If you stump me on something, that's fine. We'll look it up and we'll learn as well. The second thing here is the whole purpose of this is to make a smart go and no-go decision. I said this in Aviation Mastery, the book, and I'll say it my entire aviation career. I can make you an amazing stick and rudder pilot. I'm talking like a Jaeger, a Rickenbacker, an Earhart. I can make you a great pilot and have that physical skill. We can do that. That's not a problem. But all of that physical skill is in vain if I can't help you to make smart decisions. You can be a really great pilot, but a really bad decision maker, and you're not going to have a very long career in aviation, just, again, being blunt. So today, we're going to exercise that decision-making muscle. And the moment you see something in this flight plan that's a no-go for you, I want you to type in no-go in the chat. And again, you have to realize everyone's in a different, you have to look at it as your season. There are some student pilots on here, and maybe I don't know what airports we're in a flight plan, maybe it's like a 600-mile cross country, and some student pilots are going to go, I've never done a flight that long, that's already a no-go for me. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas some of you, I saw many CFI candidates, CFIs on here as well, you have a different tolerance, you have different minimums. So no go, and if you want to explain why, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. So that's really the two big things as well. All right, now let me just recap what we've covered this flight plan series, then we'll go to the iPad here. First, you saw a video at the beginning of this week titled My 3-Hour Rule. Who here adopted a 3-hour rule or something like a 3-hour rule? Give me a hand waving emoji, type in me in the chat. Who has adopted and committed to a 3-hour rule or some version of the 3-hour rule? The 3-hour rule, to summarize, you can go back and watch the video. I'm not going to get into all the details now. The 3-hour rule for me, and 23 Mike Zulu, says from the moment I say clear prop and start that plane, a timer starts. That timer better not exceed 3 hours all the way up to the moment the line personnel's bringing me in and telling me to shut down. That's the 3-hour rule, which realistically means I'm planning 2.5-hour legs because there's start, there's taxi, there's run up, there's a left 360, extend your downwind, there's all that stuff in there as well. So realistically, cruise time, about 2 hours, 30 minutes, maybe even a little bit less. Now, some of you may adjust that as well, by the way. Your airplane may hold more fuel, it may hold less fuel. But honestly, we're also dealing with the, not to be graphic, but the human element of this. A 3-hour bladder is not something that exists. Maybe you're real dehydrated then, if that's the case. We need to stop, we need to land, get fuel, go to the bathroom, stretch your legs, eat a snack, drink some water, etc., etc. All right? So the 3-hour rule. The other thing we talked about was choosing an altitude. Choosing an altitude. And what do I look for when I'm choosing an altitude? Well, I need to clear obstructions. Can I get above weather? Should I stay below weather? What's my appropriate VFR or IFR altitude for odd or even flight? What are my, for some IFR terms, my MEAs, right? My MRAs, my MCAs, a lot of things, and then also the winds, you know, tailwind preferably, all go into calculating which altitude I choose. That video as well is just a few videos below this live stream right now if you need to catch up on diving in deeper on how I plan an altitude. Now, the next thing we spoke about is choosing a route. And I mentioned in my route planning, I don't always just draw a magic straight line. I know that I may not get cleared into this Class Bravo airspace if I'm VFR only. I know that there's restricted airspace in front of me, and it may be cold now, but it may be hot by the time I get there, and I need to plan around that airspace. So I'm always remembering I fly in a three-dimensional world, and I need to adjust my route accordingly. You know, at night, very rarely do I fly a straight line. So oftentimes you'll see if you track 23 Mike Zulu on FlightAware for a night flight, it's airport to airport because I just want these alternate landing sites if something were to go wrong. And then really the fourth and final thing we spoke about in this series is choosing an alternate. And one thing I shared with you all is I always like an alternate that I cross over that midway point. I don't want an alternate that's beyond my waypoint. If that weather is bad, I kind of want a get out of jail free early card where I can land ahead. Does that make sense? So can I actually draw it real quick, Magda? Do we have enough room to draw? Let me draw. I just want to draw this. Brad's going to get real excited. He loves every time that I draw. Let me take the MzeroA sign down for just a second. The joy of magnets. How about right here, Magda? Is that going to work? One more over this way, she says. One more that way. How's that? Okay. What I mean here is this. And yes, We will be auctioning off this art as, what's the blockchain stuff called? NFTs? All right, if I leave OCF and I'm flying to Sun and Fun in Lakeland here, this is my route. I'm flying this direction, let's say. I will always plan an alternate somewhere around here, if it works. Now, it may realistically be more out here or like out here, but ahead of my route. Why is that the case? If I am flying along and the weather is getting junky down in Lakeland, and I'm listening to the ATIS, and the ATIS is saying 7 statute miles, broken at 800, and I'm going, I really want nothing to do with that. What am I going to do? I'm going to dip into my alternate early. What if I'm flying? My alternate for me is like a checkpoint as well. It's like, okay, do I keep going or do I land at my alternate? Do I need to use the bathroom? Would I feel better with more fuel? Is a passenger not feeling well? Do I just need to take a 15-minute break? Right? It's kind of just a little personal gut checkpoint as well, in addition to weather. So if I get here and let's say the weather looks okay, not good, but okay in Lakeland. I keep flying, I get to Lakeland now and I go, there's no way I'm making it into Lakeland. Well, guess what? I would not have left this point behind me if I thought the weather was going to get worse back there. So I can turn back around and land. I've done that one before. The mistake people make is they end up doing this. They end up going Ocala to Lakeland. That's LAL. And their alternate is somewhere over here. Now you're flying along and all of a sudden the weather's bad. Look, angry clouds. The weather's bad. There's rain and lightning. The weather's bad at Lakeland, but where is your alternate? Well, you're not getting to your alternate because there's a wall of weather in front of you. So why are we planning alternates that are beyond our destination? Alternates need to be along your route or just, a 20-mile radius off your route here, so you can get to that. And when the weather's bad, I can dip off here instead. Does that make sense for anybody? So anyways, there's your sad cloud. Hopefully it's not going to rain at Sun and Fun. But then again, Magda, would it really be Sun and Fun if it didn't rain? I feel like every year it rains once, really good at Sun and Fun and really good at Oshkosh. It's just how it works. So anyways, did that make some sense with that? All right. Thank you, Jessica Larson. Okay. Thank you, Martin. I really, really appreciate that. Magda, do we have the iPad still? Okay, let me grab a sip of tea real quick. It's not coffee. I know you all think it's coffee, but I cut back to 2 cups today. That was progress. All right, so that makes sense. So can we all agree that we're going to plan our alternates along our route of flight and use it as a gut checkpoint to dip off and land, or fly over it if you say it's good, but Lakeland's bad, you turn your tail around and you land back at your alternate. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Thanks, Mo. Appreciate that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head over to the iPad. And we got it. We might have to take the chat down to show the iPad, Magda, if that's okay. Thanks, Bill Edwards. I appreciate that. And again, that's another commitment I'd like you all to make, too, of not just the 3-hour rule, but committing to follow that kind of plan with alternates and everything else. Okay, sorry, Magda. Back to the iPad. I get on tangents. All right, let's find weather. I want to find weather because I don't want to make this easy peasy. Whew, I found weather. Where are my Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana people? Where are my Tennessee people, my Kentucky people? Yeah, my Illinois people. Where are you at? How does it look outside right now? I'd imagine, geez, especially Arkansas and Tennessee. Getting Alabama here. Where are those people at? It's nasty. Anything else? Some snow happening? I saw someone comment snowy Utah. They weren't kidding. Isn't it awfully late for snow? I feel like it's late for snow. Okay, let's plan a flight. Somebody give me an airport in the southeast. Somebody give me an airport in the southeast. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, or as Gavin used to say, Alabama. I don't know why. There was a fly-in in, where was it? In Gulf Shore. He said, are you guys going to Alabama? That's how he said it. All right. Give me a flight, an airport in the southeast. Okay, let me write I'm write all this down here. Let's see. I want to pick a good one. I want to pick a good one here. Oh, hold on. I saw it. Oh no, Lakeland's a good idea. Lakeland's a good idea. I was going to pick first flight. Someone put in their first flight. Lakeland's a good idea. Okay. So let's do LAL. All right. Now, team, I want to fly. Well, I don't want to fly through some of this weather, but I want to contend with some of this weather. So now we're leaving Sun and Fun. We're leaving Lakeland, let's say. Somebody give me an airport on the other side of this, or even in this is fine. Somebody give me an Arkansas, Louisiana, East Texas, Oklahoma. I'll even take a Missouri airport. Iowa's a little far for old 23 Mike Zulu, but she can make it with a few 3-hour rule stops. Somebody give me another airport on the other side of this weather here. Somebody, let's see if there's any I know. Let's see. Bradley says Dallas. I love that sectional chart. I think there might be some trauma from looking at the Dallas sectional chart. If I just zoom in on this, everyone gets traumatized because this is a figure, just like that. That's exactly what the figure looks like on the written test. Everyone gets traumatized. Don't they, Magda? Look at the Dallas. All right. K-SIK. Hold on, I just saw it. K-S-I-K. Let's see where that is. Cool name. K-S-I-K. I just saw that fly by. All right. 600 miles. That seems doable. Oh, well, why not? I mean, yeah, totally. Does anybody agree it's a no-go? Does anybody have a no-go to start? What is the weather doing at, let's do, hold on, just for fun. And then I promise we'll really get into it. I just want to know. Sykeston Memorial Municipal, Sykeston, Missouri. In case you didn't know, it is IFR there. It's only gusting to 14, 7 statute miles, heavy rain, scattered 200, broken 900, overcast 1600. Where are my flight simmers at? I want you guys to make this route, do this route for me. Not in real life, in the sim. Okay, but let's talk here for a second. We are gonna plan this flight. I know many of you have a no-go. Someone commented, in 2-3 Mike Zulu, it'll be clear by the time you get there. That's true, unfortunately. All right, let me turn the weather off just for a second here so no one gets distracted. Let's look at our route here real quick, and let's just start. And we are going to, oh, thank you, Gary. I put in, Gary is very, very right. I was a bad pilot. I put in LAL, not KLAL. I'm so used to just flying to the Lakeland VOR, Gary. So anyways, all right, we got that. Let's turn the weather off. Thank you for fixing that. I appreciate that. It's on the field, but it's still not right. It'll get you in trouble if you do that at other airports. I want to just scan this route here real quick. So Curtis, Larry, Gary, Scott, Hobie1, let's go ahead. I'm gonna scan this route real quick, and I want you to put it in the chat just when we look at this route, when you see things that are red flags for you, all right? I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit so we get off there we go. So we get back on the sectional chart, and I just want you, as I scan slowly, again, weather's turned off, I want you looking at just things that jump out to you that are a concern to you as you look at this route here. Any airspace, terrain, any concerns? We're hugging that Gulf of Mexico there. Some of you may not bother you. Some of you that may bother a little bit here. All right, just continuing to look here. I saw someone talked about the Bravo. Yeah, we'll go over that here. Let's just keep scanning this route. And again, this is like me sitting on my big comfy couch here, just looking at my route, seeing what kind of stuff I'm gonna have to deal with here. All right. Well, and again, I have not looked at this ahead of time. You and I are seeing this all for the first time. I've never heard of this airport in my life, nor have I ever been there. All right, I start to see some hills coming into view, and we're over them. Big mountains there. All right, we're continuing on. Continuing on here, I'm gonna go a little faster. It's a big route. We're looking good. We just crossed into Kentucky and then back on in over here. All right, What jumped out at you all? Okay, so some of you called out some Charlie airports. I saw those. By the way, when we're talking our alternates, something like, Huntsville here or Florence even just makes a great little place to dip off in. And you, on this big of a route, and you're gonna have probably 2 stops. Let's see what it is in 23 Mike Zulu. In 23 Mike Zulu, this is basically with a 7-knot headwind, an 8-hour flight. So you're gonna have 2 fuel stops, essentially here. Now, someone brought up this water. Now, we're barely over the water, but let me tell you something. When you get around here, this is truly swamp. Cedar Key is not the best diversion airport, or by that I mean power off glide distance airport, because if you come up short, you're swimming. Like if your engine quits and you think you're going to Cedar Key, you better, number one, be real good at your short field landings, because it's a little guy. It's 2,300 feet. So you better hit your point, or you're swimming if you're long, you're swimming if you're short. It's not a good power off 180 kind of spot. So we might want to consider, and this is just a very remote part of Florida too. If you went down with an engine failure here, you're going to be fighting off alligators for a little bit until somebody comes out here to get you. This is fairly remote. I would recommend we drag our route over to like a Williston or even to an Ocala here and do something along those lines instead. That'll keep you more over the state. That might also help you with somebody's first concern here, which was the Bravo. Previously, our route took us right through the Bravo, and that would have been challenging because here you are taken off of Lakeland, and look, the first Bravo shelf starts at 3,000 feet. You don't even leave the Delta until 2,600 feet. So you are, unless Lakeland Tower passes you off early, but let's say they don't, right? Let's say they don't. You've got 400 feet to pick up essentially VFR flight following and a Class Bravo clearance. That's not enough. Do you know what I mean? So adjusting north to Ocala, the Bravo is not even a concern now, which is nice if you're trying to do this. So William asked, why the concern with the Bravo airspace? Well, you got to realize too, William, on this, how many people are watching this live right now, Magda? 400 or 500 people across all the channels. You've got to realize we're talking to VFR pilots, we're talking to IFR pilots, we're talking to CFIs. So if I'm a VFR only pilot, I've got to get that magic word, hear those magic words cleared into Tampa's Class Bravo. If I'm an IFR pilot, you're good to go. But you understand? So we're talking all types of pilots here. We haven't really decided if we're going VFR or IFR at this point. Okay, so let's see just real quick what if this did anything to our route. Some MOAs through here. I'm not worried about MOAs, but with MOAs, there's normally restricted areas near them, and we're not coming into contact with any of those. We're above deltas, and again, I'm just kind of looking here. You guys mentioned some Charlies earlier. We're now outside the Birmingham Charlie. We're closer to Huntsville. Again, busy airspace, but a great little airport to make an alternate. You know you're going to get hotels and Uber and rental cars and restaurants in Huntsville. You may not in other remote parts of Georgia and Alabama. And we're basically, so that little, look how a simple change to Ocala alleviated your Bravo concerns. If you had Charlie concerns, if you're flying a little bit lower, your over water concerns. And can I show you something here? So our route right now is 664 miles. Let me take Ocala out of it. 656 miles. Look at that. It makes sense. So right now we're at 8 hours with the live wind updates. Adding an Ocala flyover, get it in its right order. Adding an Ocala flyover adds 11 minutes. 11 minutes to feel better about your alternates, better about the airspace, better about everything. I'll take the 11 minutes, right? It's the smart way to do it. And again, we're gonna be flying our 3-hour rule here. So now, let's talk about this. And I'm gonna show you the 3-hour rule in action. So let's just take a peek here. Ocala to Lakeland is what? It's 72 miles. Okay, that's not bad. I'm gonna need to stop, and what I'll typically do is I'll zoom out, I'll go kind of the 2-finger mode here and kind of draw it out, because you see how we get that time in the middle there? I like to have that time in the middle, and I know I'm cutting the corner a little bit there. I can't draw perfectly follow our route, but I like to get around that 230 mark, kind of around there, and I'm where the top of this guy is right here, this one waving at you. I'm gonna start looking for airports here to stop for my 3-hour rule. Around that 230 mark, realize I have a little bit of a bend, so maybe a little bit earlier than that. And I'm gonna look, and I'm a little bit strange here. I am gonna pick something like the Valdosta Airport over something like Thomasville Regional or Moultrie. Why is that? My ground school members know this, but I typically, for my alternates or my legs to take a break and literally stretch my legs, I will almost always exclusively, if I can, pick Deltas and Charlies. And I know I know for a fact I'm paying more in fuel. Now, I will go to pilot-controlled airports that are around populated areas. Here's my reasoning behind this. I typically use Deltas and Charlies or busy, uncontrolled airports in well-populated areas like Tampa Executive is one I use a lot going through Florida. Pilot-controlled, uncontrolled airport, but I want to be around civilization. I need to take away the temptation to go. You see, if I land in Moultrie, Georgia, I guess that is, and the weather's, it's not bad, but it's not great either. I don't know if anybody's from Moultrie, but I don't know what the Uber service and the hotels are like, and the restaurants are probably really good in Moultrie, but can I get to that good, grandma's country cooking via Uber? Does Uber even run in Moultrie, Georgia, or wherever Moultrie is? Do you understand what I'm saying? So typically, I'll go over to something like Valdosta, right over here, knowing there's city, knowing there's a Delta, knowing there's a decent little FBO, and everything else there. So I'll typically do that. So I'll drag us over to Valdosta, as you can see here, and I'm gonna add that to my route. I don't know why my iPad shrank like that, Mag. Let me go back, vertical and back. I just tricked it a little bit, okay? So I added Valdosta to my route here. And again, look at this, 8 hours, 12 minutes. Wasn't I just 8 hours, 11 minutes? Now, I realize I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna land, I'm gonna use Valdosta's, restrooms, grab fuel, everything else, but I'm looking to map this out. So let's just look at this real quick here. Lakeland to Ocala is 44 minutes. I then look and I have Ocala to Valdosta is 1 hour and 4 minutes. So again, I'm well within my tolerance for that 3-hour rule, but hey, it's a good airport, I'm stopping off early, and there's no problem, no shame in that, and being well on the good side of that 3-hour rule. So now, let's see, can I make, no, there's no chance I can make that, 482 miles? 482 miles, I bet the book says I could make it. Let's look at it real quick here. Valdosta to SIK, you can see it's showing here. No, it's showing that leg's gonna be 6 hours. That's not gonna make it. It's the wind that's not gonna make it there. Sometimes the book says one thing, oh, you can make it. Oh yeah, you can do a 400-mile trip. You drop off early, okay? So let's do the same thing. Let's go from Valdosta on up, and let's look again around that 230-ish type mark, somewhere around here, and let's zoom in. We're west of Atlanta, so I imagine there's some good stuff here. We could dip over to Birmingham if you're willing to go into a Class Charlie. If not, Gaston, I would have to do some research on it, but it looks like it's a fairly populated area. Could we push all the way to Huntsville? That would be nice. Let's try that, and let's see here. Let's go to Huntsville. Let's program that. Let's look at our flight plan, as you can see, and then look at Valdosta to Huntsville, 3 hours and 10 minutes. So that's a no-go. You might say, but Jason, it's just 10 minutes. Like, you want to kind of go a little further so you can make, it's the 3-hour rule, and I'm not going to break it. So we're going to go back to our flight plan. We're going to edit our flight plan, and we're going to get rid of Huntsville here, and we're going to go a little bit to the south. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what Birmingham adds in here as well. All right, we'll do Birmingham. We'll go back to our flight plan. I'm going to look at the nav log. 2 hours, 49 minutes. Again, that's right on the cusp. It might even be smart to reel that one back just a little bit from there. Now, some other things to look at. We might want to say, because look, if we go off of that and we stop in Birmingham, still Birmingham to SIK is still 3 hours, 43 minutes. So how can we help even this thing out a little bit? Well, our Valdosta leg is maybe a little bit early. We could push that one a little further into the future. And you see on these, and Matt and I do this all the time with Oshkosh. We're always kind of pushing and pulling to make those adjustments, but not this 2 hour, 49 minute leg is a little too close for me. I'll probably reel that one back and maybe push my Valdosta push my Valdosta forward. We won't keep doing all that to get this perfect little flight plan here. And you can do this, by the way. I'll show you the airports. There's the airports there if you want to grab a screenshot of it and do this exercise on your own, or grab along, what's like a dream cross country? You dream of flying to Oshkosh one day or something like that. That would be a great way to do it. I see a lot of you, hey Ben Riggs, Sharon Gadsden, and some others, and it could be. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the route here. Let's just assume we're going to go ahead and we're going to start working to check the weather on all of this now here. So what we're going to go ahead and do, is this is going to take just a second, so you can thank you Magda, you can put the chat back up so we can say hi to some people here. I'm going to go ahead and start the process. This is going to take a second on the internet to get the flight plan and get the full briefing. But I got the brief, it's loading. I'll holler at you once that's loaded here as well. But again, you want to kind of adjust that route and play around with it and pick a route that you dream of flying one day. You know, maybe you do dream of flying to Oshkosh one day, whatever that may be. Start to map that out. Like these things, you manifest these things when you put them out there. So, all right, brief is ready. Matt, good to see you, by the way, my friend. All right, and first things first, we're going to dive into our brief. First things first, we start with our TFRs. We know about this Disney TFR. It has been there since just after September 11th, when they thought Disney was a potential terrorist threat, and it has been there ever since. It is still, by definition, a TFR that's just been there like, I don't know, 20 years. So it is it's like a PFR, permanent flight restriction. I made that up. That's not a real aviation acronym. All right, closed or unsafe NOTAMs. Lakeland, runway 826 is closed from the 23rd, as you can see there. Why do you think that is? Well, I just told you, a big old thing called Sun and Fun coming up. So we know that 8 and 26 is closed. They use that for parking as well. Let's look at some convective segments. Now, back in the olden days when Ben Riggs and I were learning to fly, you used to have to read convective segments. And you would literally read them like this: from 40 miles northwest of GIJ to 40 miles northwest of AIR. AIR, that's a great airport identifier. And you'd have to read all of them. Now, things like Garmin Pilot and ForeFlight spoil you. They draw it for you. Like, I mean, again, where are my old school pilots who used to have to figure out where the segment was by reading it? I'm more old school than you realize, all right? We have all our convective segments here. So what is a convective segment, by the way? A convective segment applies to all pilots. I don't care if you're flying a Cessna Mini Wagon. I don't care if you're flying a 737. Convective segments apply to all pilots. So let's look. We have a few of them here. We can see this one, and you see our pink route. It goes right on through it. We see this one. Our pink route goes right on through. Do I have any no-goes yet looking at this? Yep. I've got 1, 2, 3 convective segments, as if I need to look at the air mets. Hey, question for you. Check ride question for you. What's the difference between a segment, whether it's convective or just a segment? What's the difference between a segment and an air met? Very, very popular check ride question as well with that one. By the way, username WX4CB said that question was on his written test this morning. I told you, we're just doing pertinent information here. I love it. What's the difference between an airmet and a SIGMET? Well, remember, a SIGMET, like we said, applies to all aircraft, where an airmet mostly just applies to us in general aviation. There's 3 types of airmets. We're going to be looking, I'm sure we'll get all 3 of them here today. So let's look. Here's our first of the 3, our IFR airmets. It's technically IFR or mountain obscurations. You could have a VFR day by definition, but the fog is blocking some mountains. That is what they mean when they say a mountain obscuration. And by the way, if you are a VFR only pilot, you better have typed in no-go in the chat already, because you've got like 6 or 7 airmets over here for IFR flying. These are called airmet Sierras. I remember airmet Sierra for IFR, Sierra, the S like I can't see because it's IFR, or the Sierra Nevada mountain range, mountain obscurations. Airmet Sierra, IFR conditions and or mountain obscurations. But wait, there's more. Icing. Icing is airmet Zulu. I remember the Z in Zulu for the Z in Zamboni. Icing airmets, airmet Zulu. There are 2 of them. And it's just an update to the other one. I realize our route is not there, but let me tell you something. I don't want to be even this close to icing. Do you see the freezing level at the bottom of the screen? It's the base freezing level is from 6,000 to 12,000. It's varied. It's somewhere in there you're going to get icing. And let me tell you something, it's awfully close to my route, and I want nothing to do with icing. So if you are in Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Davenport, Iowa, a little bit of Kentucky right now, you might be able to do some pattern work. Well, no, because there's all that other weather associated with this. There's some just junky conditions going by right now. Okay, but wait, there's more. We then get into our airmet tangos. Tango, letter T, for turbulence. All right, turbulence. So here is our turbulence, and I imagine there's going to be quite a few of these as well with that weather. And I want to know what that weather is. I imagine it's frontal in nature. So we're going to learn and we're going to look through that here. And again, geez, these things just don't stop. And you know, one thing I do, and I know I'm going through these quickly here, we just know the weather's bad, but I will look at these in great detail. And let's just look at one to show you. This is a great one. The basis for the turbulence in this area, 0. Like Brian, Joseph, Alex, Matt, Austin Timmerman, the moment you leave the ground, it will be bumpy. Like that's literally what that says when the bases are at 0 and the tops are at 18,000 feet and the severity is moderate. If you are flying with your spouse or a non-flying friend or just somebody who's a little bit nervous in flying, it's a no-go day because you're going to be bumpy from the moment you leave the ground. So that's just something to think about. Alex said, who won the giveaway? We haven't gotten to the giveaway yet, Alex. We're probably 15, 20 minutes away from announcing that, probably at the top of the hour here. So my point is, it's turbulent, it's windy. Airmet Tango for turbulence and surface winds of 30 knots or greater. And let me tell you, if you have surface winds greater than 30 knots, you're going to have turbulence as well. So do be mindful of that. Jennifer Gates, great to see you on here as well. Now they do turbulence as well for high altitude. I'll breeze through these quickly because these are usually up in the 30 and 40,000s. Let's look. Yeah, from 18,000 to 42,000 feet. It is just bumpy if you're in the central or even up through New England, up the East Coast. So you can see that. All right. Low level wind shear as well. I mean, again, if you haven't put a no-go in here, we probably should. But this is where I want to spend some time. We'll look at, not here, I want to look at prog charts. This is our surface analysis chart. And as you can really see what's actually causing this here now, it is a low pressure that's hooked up to a cold front from Mexico on up to northern Arkansas. It then becomes this stationary front. So where were I saw a few Indiana people talking about how bad the weather's been lately. Well, you got a stationary front. And what is a stationary front? You know, neither front is strong enough to take over the other. And how that works, can I draw again, Magda? Is that going to screw you up? Let me draw again real quick. How does a stationary front actually work here? Let me get this set up real quick, Magda. Is that the one? Yeah. Hold on. Pilot error. All right, let me get this set up again here for you. How does a stationary front work? Well, you're going to get, let me change colors here. You could get a cold front that's going to look like this, and you're going to get a warm front that looks like this. And by the way, they're both trying to head this direction. They met, the cold front and the warm front met, but they're both about the same strength. So neither is strong enough to push the other one out of the way. This is Indiana right now, by the way, right? So that's happening. What are the three ingredients? Thanks, Magda. What are the three ingredients we need for a thunderstorm? Well, we need a temperature inversion. Check. I need moisture. I'll get it right here in the humidity for the warm front. And I need an uplifting action. With these two hitting each other, all that's happening is they're pushing that moist air aloft, and we get clouds, angry clouds, sad clouds, not angry clouds, and it ends up raining. That's what essentially happens with the stationary front, and that's what we're creating in that circumstance there. So when you see that switch to that stationary front, if we go back to the iPad, Magda, you can see that stationary front. I'll take this down while you show them that's kind of hanging out there. That's what's causing that. There's a cold front and a warm front. That's why the stationary front symbol is a half cold front and a half warm front. These two fronts just meet, and they send the weather on up. So back to the iPad. That's just our little surface analysis chart. Next, it takes us to the METARs, and I really like how 4Flight's been doing this lately. Now, you can't just look and go, oh, it's all green, it must be great, because that's a mistake, and it is kind of funny that it's green, 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 red. Thanks a lot to whoever picked K-SIK, S-I-K. You could easily just look at this and go, wow, it's green all the way until I get there. So I'll just get to Tennessee and then I'll stop. But I would say not so fast on that one. Let's look, and let's get a little further into our route as we get closer to the IFR conditions. You see there's also some marginal conditions in there, and even some of these VFR, what they're calling VFR conditions, aren't that great. Look at KDYR. From the bottom, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up from the bottom. They just put out a specie. Now, they are legally, by definition, VFR. But it's an automated weather report. The winds are 080 at 10 statute miles visibility, thunderstorms in the vicinity, broken at 6,500, overcast 8,500. And then look at this one. Temperature 16, dew point 16. Now, what happens, MzeroA Nation, and especially my ground school members, I know you know this, I teach it all the time to you, when my temperature and my dew point get close to one another? What typically happens when temperature and dew point get close? Now, I know, as of this report, that airport is VFR right now. But I also know that temperature and dew point are close. What do I want to say? The ceilings are high, but there's thunderstorms in the vicinity. You're exactly right. We're going to get fog. We're going to get low clouds. You want a homework assignment if you're going to stay up a little later? Write down KDYR and somebody tell me at the top of the hour when their new METAR comes out. And again, this is totally unscripted. I'm not trying to like forecast the weather here. I'm just telling you the ingredients are there for this. Look at DYR in about 15 minutes and tell me what it updates to. And I bet the weather is going to get a little bit worse based on that alone. I know it's legally VFR now. So you could look at this, Brad. You could look at this and go, oh, it's all green all the way until I get there. Yeah, and I don't know where DYR is. But it's got all the ingredients to lower those ceilings and make it nasty. So your homework, in 15 minutes, somebody look it up and then paste it in the chat so I can see it, is to look up KDYR, wherever that is, once this updates. The current one right now is 0006 Zulu is this one, all right? You're gonna get those crummy conditions. All right, next one, PIREPs. All right, I love to look at our PIREPs, but I love to look at PIREPs from aircraft that make sense. For example, we look at this one, and this is from a 737. And I gotta be honest with you, it doesn't help me a lot, but it helps enough because look at this real quick. Normally you would just go, it's a 737, how could that help me? Well, look at the PIREP real quick with me. It says altitude, so it's see the D-U-R-D, during descent. The aircraft type, it's a 737, and most of you would just write it off and go, what does that matter? Broken at 5,000, turbulence light to moderate. So they're descending through 5,000, and a 737 said the turbulence is light to moderate. Okay, now you don't have to be a genius to realize this. If the turbulence is light to moderate for a 737, what's it going to be for a little 2-3 Mike Zulu? It's going to be a moderate to severe to probably extreme turbulence for that little airplane. So you got to keep that in mind and keep that in perspective. Most people just read that and go, there's light turbulence. Well, that's for a 737. Weighs a little bit more than a little 2-3 Mike Zulu. Now, I do like to, and again, I haven't looked at any of these ahead of time, I do like to try to find some aircraft that apply to us. A 208 is a Grand Caravan. That's a little bit close. Turbulence negative off of Lakeland. I can appreciate that. And I'm just looking at aircraft types, and some of these are tough. Like, that's another 208, another 208. There's just not a lot of stuff that really applies to us. By the way, I saw a few of you asking how to register for the iPad. The deadline passed already, so I apologize, but you can be eligible for next month's contest as well. All right, I want to spend some time here. And I told Magda I'd be done at the top of the hour, so I need to crank through this here quickly. I love this chart and the next chart I'm going to share with you. Back in the olden days, who remembers flying in the olden days? Back in the olden days, it was very easy to get bases. It was hard to get tops. There used to be a chart called the radar summary chart, and it did an okay job at tops. Now we are super spoiled at getting our tops. So, okay, Rach, can we share what Rachel just posted? So, DYR already updated. You ready? 250 at, so 46 minutes. Okay, perfect. It literally just updated as we were talking 2 minutes ago. All right, winds 320 at 09, 10 statute miles visibility. Thunderstorms in the vicinity. TS thunderstorms, VC vicinity. A vicinity is an 8-kilometer radius around the airport. RA, rain, and look at this. Broken at 900. Go back. What was it just when you just looked at your specie? Let's show them, Magda. It was, where is it? It was broken at 6,500. Show Rachel's again to compare it, Magda. I'll put DYR right on top so you can compare the two. It went from, again, that temperature and that dew point being that close. You go from broken at 6,500 to broken at 900 like that, when that temperature and dew point get that close. Again, you may have left and be like, it's all green, it's all VFR, and then ba-boom, that happens. You've got to look at the indicators that will show you that. You know, another indicator, can we go back to the METARs? I'm sorry, there's just too much good stuff to share. You ready? There's too much good stuff to share. Can somebody go back to DYR, and Magda, have Rachel's ready again. I want to see Rachel's again too. Let's show Rachel's. Look at the altimeter setting. 2955. Ground school members and MzeroA Nation, think about that. When is the last time you put 2955 in your altimeter? Look at these other altimeters on the iPad. 2956, 2957, 2952, 2966. This is very low pressure. Your altimeter is all based off of pressure. And go just one more time. I'm so sorry, Magda, but there's so much good meat to this. She's laughing at me over there, just as I'm directing from the camera. Look where we start, okay? Look at the top here, and I can't annotate this, I apologize. Look at Bartow, the first one there, 3002. X-ray 07, 3001. Scroll a little bit. Let's go a little bit further into our route here. Let's go down here. 29er, 9er, 7. Let's go a little further along a route. 29er, 8-2, 29er, 7-2, 29er, 5-7. Do you see how the pressure is going? Low pressure is bad weather. A hurricane is a low pressure system. If you are flying along and every time the altimeter gets lower and lower and lower, and you're telling yourself, oh, the weather will be better when I get there, you are lying to yourself. One thing I always do is I am writing down the altimeter settings as I fly. And I'm noting, is that pressure going down? Because that's a problema. And I want to watch that. The weather may be fine, but I'm just saying the ingredients. Low pressure is an ingredient. Close temperature and dew point, these are ingredients. Ground school members, we just learned all this from looking at the METAR. You didn't have to show us the radar. All I had to see was the pressure and the temperature and dew point and tell you there's going to be crummy weather. The ingredients are all there. There's 2 of the ingredients there for crummy weather. So I want you to be looking at that. Let me jump back to where I was. I know I get on some tangents. I hope you find that they're worthwhile tangents. This is the chart I was telling you I love. It replaced the radar summary chart. The reason I love it is it now shows tops. So you can see BKN broken at 1200, tops 3400, clear above. I don't care, most of you here are flying general aviation. You are not getting over that cloud. You are not getting over this storm. Tops at flight level 380, that's 38,000 feet, 29,000 feet, 37,000 feet. You know, Brad, I don't care if your Cherokee 6 is turbocharged, you're not getting over there. You're not getting over this storm. You follow me with that? So I love looking at this, and this will show you it based on time too. So you can look at the 300 Zulu, or more current, the 600 Zulu, and you can kind of see how this is moving and see how this is developing as well. Now look, it's kind of starting to break up a little bit. Tops 6,000 down here, but then right behind it, tops 26,000. So it's kind of patchy, maybe because it's cooling off, it's breaking up a little bit as well. So just something else to be looking at and to be watching there as well. All right, surface winds. Again, what is the one sign you have passed through a front? It's a change, a 180-degree change in wind direction. This just shows it so perfectly, right? Look at the wind direction make it big, sorry. Look at the wind direction in North Carolina on the right-hand side of your screen. Look at the wind direction on the left-hand side of your screen in Missouri, right? What is the sign that you have passed a front? It is literally a 180-degree change in the winds. All right, let's keep moving forward here for time's sake, because Magnus can get mad at me if I keep going much longer. It's past our bedtime. We got to get up early. All right, again, TAFs, we could do the same kind of thing. Don't just look and go, it's all green, life must be good. That's not 100% true here. Wind charts with our cross section, you'll see here, I love how it literally looks like a hurricane. We'll talk about that. I don't have enough time to get in the vertical cross section chart today. We've done entire webinars with that. I want to, and let me just jump to it. I want to go to the imagery, and I want to spend some time here, and this is where we're going to wrap, and then we'll give away the iPad. I want to talk about why this weather is this way. So this is our latest surface analysis chart, also called our prog chart or our prognostic chart. You can see the low that's hanging out right here. Let's just jump ahead a little bit. Now we start adding precipitation to this. Now I want to point out something again about the pressure. Now we're looking at the pressure in millibars. Do you see here, it's 1,004. Let me give you some perspective. That's very low pressure, just like we talked about the altimeter settings there. Think of it this way, and I only know this from living in Florida. A Category 1 hurricane, like how they know if a hurricane is going to intense if the pressure starts dropping. A Category 1 hurricane is somewhere in the high 900s, 980, maybe 990 even. I think at 980, like 979 and less, it switches to a Category 2. It has all the ingredients to become a Category 2. So if you look back at this, and I tell you a Category 1 hurricane is like 980 to 990, and this is 1,004, can we all agree that you've got some nasty, nasty weather right here? If you are in Arkansas, I would wonder if you're even watching this right now, if you have power, because literally the weather's that bad. Coach Ray, you might want to call your parents and tell them there's rain coming. They live in Louisiana, somewhere in this boot here. Louisiana looks like a boot. All right, so we got that. Let's keep moving forward. Now, you can see we've got this cold, look, we just dropped to a 997 on the back side. You can see you've got this cold front that spans down through Texas and into Mexico. And you can see you've got this stationary front here that turns to a cold front. Now, I want to teach you something interesting here, and I only know this from being in Florida all my life and studying hurricanes. It's something called the Coriolis effect, the Coriolis force in this case. This storm, being this low of pressure, is rotating, again, because it's like a hurricane, a counterclockwise rotation. In addition to the Earth's rotation, if this thing gets low enough, and a 997 is, again, I haven't looked this ahead of time, watch this low start to pull to the northeast. You know how it's so hard to predict where a hurricane's going to go? They watch the pressure drop. You ever see how the hurricane just, you're like, how does it make that magical pull? It's the Coriolis effect that really works. As the pressure drops, it spins tighter and tighter. It's kind of like P factor for low pressure systems. It's a cheesy analogy, but that's essentially how it works, like a torque effect. It will pull up to the north. So let's watch this. So my bad news, if I'm right, bad news for my Indiana, my Michiganers, Michiganites, I don't know what you're called. Let's jump ahead here. All right, so look, where was our low pressure? It was in northeast Arkansas. It's now pulled up into Illinois, Indiana. By the way, this is the 18 hours. Let's jump ahead now, 24 hours. Look at this. It doesn't even look like a hurricane now because it's a land hurricane. 988. You are in category 1 type stuff. If you, in the next 24 hours, if you are in Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, will you make me a promise? Will you like grab a METAR or a picture or something and post it in the MzeroA Nation? I just want to see, because this is going to be a nasty storm. In fact, Brad, it's even looking like some snow is coming your way, my friend as well. Thank you, Magda, for getting that up. If you're not in the MzeroA Nation Facebook group, great group of 14,000 amazing like-minded pilots. If you're in this area, I would love a picture outside or a screenshot of a METAR or something as homework. That'd be really cool. And this looks, Aswin said he's right in Indianapolis. Well, this looks like it's right over Indianapolis. It's going to be nasty in the next 24 hours there. Let's jump ahead 30 hours. Now up to Michigan as well. Look at this cold front. Look how strong. You can always tell how strong a storm is going to be when it goes from Michigan to Mexico, right? This is going to be a big one. The strength of it here, 36 hours, not moving as much, starting to stall out a little bit. 48 hours, pushing its way and breaking. See how it lost its leverage point? A little bit of an occluded front. My New Englanders are going to get whacked with some bad weather here too. And then it looks like sun and fun may have a rainy day. Nope. Going stationary. Day 3, they lose the weather. Day 4, cold front passing through. It's possible 5 days out from now. So what would that be? 5 days out, we might have a rainy Thursday or so down, or a rainy Wednesday down at Sun and Fun, depending when that passes through. So let me ask you something. Did anybody here make a go decision? I hope not. Not even to go fly your drone. Like, it's not even good drone flying weather. It's a good day to stay on the ground and study the weather and send me a picture in the MzeroA Nation Facebook group. I would imagine, who here, type in the chat, who here made a no-go decision? I know I made a no-go decision with this. Who, by the way, learned something here today? Type in me in the chat here as well. Who learned something? I really, truly hope you did. Hey, if you loved what we just did, we do this not literally flight planning, but I do a webinar like this every Tuesday afternoon with our online ground school members. I encourage you to check it out. There is a reason MzeroA always gets rated as the top online ground school. You can do a 2-week trial at MzeroAtrial.com. There's so many great ground school members on here. Thank you to everybody who said they learned something as well. Awesome, awesome. And again, some good reminders. Brad said, I was reminded more than I learned. There's no shame in that. It's some good, healthy reminders, and hopefully you learn something where you can just take some good action on that as well. Hey, it is time, everybody. Let's give away that iPad mini now. So again, the contest is closed. You cannot enter. We will do another contest next month. So in the month of April, we're diving into an accident analysis series. I'll be breaking down 4 aviation accidents, our ground school member only webinars. And those webinars I mentioned, I just do them for ground school members. I present for about an hour every single week. It's a much smaller group, so it's more intimate as well. So just something to check out there. Again, it's MzeroAtrial.com if you want to check that out. We'll be diving into some accidents on those webinars as well. And your YouTube videos and Facebook videos that you love will be related to aviation accidents as well. So I have, on this piece of paper, I have the winner of our iPad. It is an iPad mini, by the way. I personally fly with an iPad mini. Flying smaller airplanes, I think the iPad mini is a great way to go. I work sometimes from an iPad Pro, but the 12-inch iPad Pro is just too much and a little too through my Zulu. So iPad mini is the best way to go about it. So let's dive into it here. I have it here. Okay. I feel like we're at a big awards ceremony or something like that. Drum roll. Do we have a drum roll sound effect? Our winner is from the state of Virginia. To be specific, Woodbridge, Virginia, and our winner is Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez from Woodbridge, Virginia, my friend. You are the winner of a brand spanking new iPad mini, just to make your flight planning that much better, that much easier. So congratulations to Tony. Golf clap in order on that one. And, oh, Maggie's got applause. Good job, Maggie. She doesn't know if it played or not. Hopefully it did. Congratulations, Tony, to you on that, and everybody for entering. If you want to, well, next month's contest is not live yet. You will need to re-enter for next month's contest. I know what we're giving away, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. Tony, we will reach out to you probably on Monday. An MzeroA team member will reach out to you as well. I don't know if Tony's actually here. If for some reason Tony doesn't respond, we do have a backup. I'm not going to say who it is, but we did pick a backup just in case. Ben said, congrats, Tony. I hope you're not an Android person. If Tony is an Android person, we will convert him. So, all right, let's open it up just real quick. Questions, comments, concerns. Anything you want to chat about, anything is fair game. Type in your questions in the chat, and I am more than happy to answer those here now. So type those in the chat, and we will get those answered here. I'm going to grab a sip of tea. It's decaffeinated. Don't worry, I won't be up all night. I wake up early. So, okay. Can the prog chart, R&B Mike said, can the prog chart show inches? Oh, you're saying because it's showing inches, could it show inches of mercury, like 2.9 or 9 or 2, instead of showing it essentially in millibars here? I don't know of one that does. And just like, you know, it's kind of like being married to a European woman who sets your entire house in Celsius, right, Magda? Our thermostat, our Ecobee is in Celsius. Thank goodness for being a pilot. I know a little bit of Celsius conversion, but it's challenging sometimes. Everything, her phone, you ask the Amazon Echo what the temperature's outside, it's in Celsius. So you're just gonna have to convert some of those as well with that. Okay, let's see. Brian said, can you dip below I assume you mean an approach before the final approach fix. Brian, do you have the runway environment in sight or any of the criteria? The answer is yes. If not, no. And then, well, there's an exception to that, Brian. is there a VDP, a visual descent point, associated with that approach? Because a VDP says, even if I see the runway environment, don't dip below because you'll end up hitting a tower or something like that. Jason Lewis said, would any situation cause you to change your 3-hour rule? So no, but a situation has caused me to go beyond my 3-hour rule. I shared it briefly in the 3-hour rule video. I had 8 different diversions on a flight from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Louisville, Kentucky. And we landed around, I don't know, around 3:20, 3:15. I don't know where we actually landed. I have to look back at my logbook. But we started the first diversion around like the 2-hour mark. So the 3-hour rule really saved us. If we had pushed it and flew further and been diverting around the 3-hour mark and then landed around the 4-hour, 4:15 mark, and an airplane holds 4.5 hours of fuel. So I didn't purposefully violate my 3-hour rule by landing at 3:15. I was trying to get down much earlier. There was just diversion after diversion that happened. And if anything, it was starting early, thus the 3-hour rule, that saved us and allowed us to not have to tell a state trooper why we chose to land on his or her highway because we ran out of fuel. David White said, think about joining the ground school or the weekly webinars like this format. This is great. David White, they are right here in this location. The chat looks a little bit different because this is a YouTube and a Facebook chat, and we don't show it over here like we see. Mag plays it differently, but yes, it is very, very similar. And it's a much smaller group. It's less than 100-something people usually because it's a Tuesday afternoon. They kind of get together. We get to know each other and everything else. I get to dive more into some personal stories like that 3-hour rule story and everything else. It's also a lot of fun. Let Coach Ray and Eric and everybody else tell you that to other ground school members out there. Joel said, can I do a similar webinar with Garmin Pilot? I could. However, remember, all this weather data that I just pulled is from NOAA. Like maybe the vertical cross-section chart and a few other things that our ForeFlight is doing on their own, and they don't really own the vertical cross-section chart. They're kind of pulling that from elsewhere. It wouldn't be a whole lot different, my friend. Weather products are weather products with that. So just something else to think about. All right, other questions, other comments. Thanks for the kind words. Marty Miller, great to see you. Says, webinar's the best. Join. Thank you, my friend. All right. Hujin asked, I know contact with ATC isn't needed flying through Class C airspace, but it's still a good idea. My friend, I fly nowhere without VFR flight following. I'll do a 15-mile hop to another airport to go visit a buddy. I'll get VFR flight following. Some call it excessive. I call it another set of eyes to watch me because it only takes once for something like that to happen. I mean, look at these runway incursions. There was a midair that happened in Florida a few weeks ago. I just look at these things and go, wow. You know, in aviation, we don't get a chance to pull over on the side of the road and ask for directions or put our thumb up and ask someone to come bring us a gas can. Like it can be unforgiving. We have to always go above and beyond with that one. So Jason Lewis, yes, we will be at Sun and Fun. We're going to have our books there. I will be there. We are also going to be selling. We've never sold them before. We're going to be selling our swag. Our only swag we're really going to have is the mug. Aviate, Navigate, Caffeinate. It is the official mug of In-Flight Coffee. These were gifts to some of our customers in the past, some of our lifetime customers for a Christmas present. We had a few extras, only about 50 extra, and we're going to end up selling those. So that's your one and only chance to get those, limited edition. So that's good. Someone asked if I had sport check ride prep. I do not, but I will tell you. Still grab past your private pilot check ride. I recommend as an audiobook on Audible, audiobooks.com, iTunes, something like that. The only thing that's really different is regulations for sport pilots. Aerodynamics, weather, flight planning, weight and balance, it's all still the same. Joseph asked, do we have an instrument ground school? Yes, my friend. MzeroA has a complete private instrument, commercial, and fundamentals of instructing online ground school. Before you spend any money, check it out. Go to MzeroAtrial.com to check that out. I'm telling you, it will be great. Mo, you cannot order the mug on the website. You got to come in person at Sun and Fun, and I doubt we'll have any by Oshkosh. I know we are going to I know we're going to have sell out of those. And yes, on YouTube, we have a full FOI course. So head on in, MzeroAtrial.com, check out the few trial lessons there, and then sign up for a full membership. Join us on the webinars and see all of that. Kendall asked, how do I feel about UL94 Avgas? And Naples is getting it soon. I've used it before through Swift. And I used it in the Technum, and the Technum really liked it. The problem back then was availability. It's getting better, but I've been in talks with some of the Naples people, and they're getting it. I won't get into it too much, but yes, they are getting it. They are getting it. So let's see. Carl said, anyone know a good starter plane for sale? I do still have the J3 Cub for sale, if anybody's interested. I had one, it's actually not listed. I took the listing off because we just got a million like tire kickers. I don't know how to explain it. Everybody wanted to come see it. I think they just wanted to come see the MzeroA Piper Cub. I don't know what it was, but a lot of people came to see it. Nobody was serious about it. So I am still trying to sell the Piper Cub. I just took it off the market and kind of have it as like a pocket listing. Is that a thing in aviation? So if you want to do that, you can. Roy asked, how's one become a lifetime member? You can reach out to you want to do the support team, Magda? Support@MzeroA.com. Reach out, Roy. Since you are already a gold member, you are eligible for that. Is not, we do not publish or make lifetime membership public. Basically, you got to join the inner circle, and then we let you even deeper into the inner circle, Roy. It's good. It's good. So you can check that out. Carlos said, how much for the Cub? Email support, and I'm happy to have that conversation here. We're not looking for any crazy price. We're looking just for market value. Support@MzeroA.com, so you can do that. All right, I'll ask, should a DPE be tipped? Don't tip a DPE. Your tip to a DPE is to show up prepared, well-dressed, wearing deodorant, and ready to fly your best. That is the best tip you can give to a DPE. Be the best applicant that evaluator has had all day. Just my 2 cents on that. So cool. Kendall, very, very cool. I would like to talk about that a little bit more as well. Craig, thank you for the kind words on that. All right, let's grab a few more. And then it is so far past my bedtime as well. Danielle said, is the Piper Cub a good training aircraft? Yes and no. I'll just be honest with you. First off, I love learning to fly in a tailwheel airplane. Ben and so many others here will tell you a tailwheel airplane just makes you a better stick and rudder pilot. Not all Cubs are created equally though. My Cub, I wanted to keep it all original. So it is it's still the original A65 engine. It is original from 1940. No electrical system, you got to hand prop it. It wouldn't make the best trainer. It's kind of like that classic car you only take out on a Saturday. That's what the Cub is to us as well here. Would I ever fly for the airlines? I have no desire to do such. We have such, I mean, MzeroA is a living, breathing, very highly favored and powered to prosper business. And we claim that and take that. So we're thankful for that. All right. How do I motivate a student for taking the ground portion as serious as flying? Listen, I was there. And you have to start building incentives. Hey, I'm not going to dispatch this flight. We're not going to do our next lesson until you watch, videos 1, 2, and 3 from Jason. You got to put consequences like that. The other thing, incentivize to them. Ground school saves time and money. Doing ground school is ground school first, and staying ahead on your ground school is the #1 way to save time and money in your flight training. It really is that simple with that. So hope that helps. Again, our winner, I see some of you are asking, our winner was Tony Gonzalez from Woodbridge, Virginia as well. So listen, thank you so much to everybody for staying late on a Friday night. We're going to do another live stream next month. I'm going to live stream a little bit from Sun and Fun. And remember, April 8th April 8th, that's a Saturday, at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do another episode of In-Flight Coffee. So add it to your calendars, everybody. April 8th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be right here making a cup of coffee, and we'll be diving into some aviation accidents then as well. So very, very great with that. So anyways, Jonathan Vargas, look forward to seeing you, my friend. We will save you a mug. Looking forward to, well, next Saturday, we'll see, 50 mugs? We're selling them all, Jonathan Vargas. You might want to send a buddy by. Send a buddy by to reserve it for you. But listen, thank you. Y'all are such a blessing. Thank you for playing full out on a Friday night. There's a lot of things you could be doing on a Friday night, unless you live in Arkansas or Indiana, because the weather's bad, as we saw. And we're just hanging out. Listen, go out there and be a light. You do something so, so cool that very few people can say they even do. You hurtle a hunk of aluminum through the sky at 90 knots or more. It's a pretty cool thing to be able to say. So go out there and just choose to see everything from a place of abundance in all that you do. Have that blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you at Sun and Fun. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you.